my Chola hat today. I am needing the comfort. I am excited to interview Sean Patton. He is so kind. He headlined Independent closer to like when we first started. And he was so kind and so cool, and his bio is like an array of things that all of us dream of doing. So I'm excited to touch base on some of these huge festivals, the Comedy Central Half Hour, the Jimmy Fallon, the Conan, all the really cool stuff that he's accomplished, and how he got there, and the grind of it all. So let's go live with Sean and see what he's up to.
Hey,
Hi! What's up, friend?
how are you?
I'm good. Let me plug in my headphones. I'm so sorry.
Should I plug in headphones too? Am I too loud?
No, it's just like has like that echo, you know?
Oh,
Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. So I think we'll be okay.
okay. I mean, I don't. You sound perfect to me.
Oh, okay, then great. I just
Yeah.
have an echo over here. But how are you doing? How's quarantine?
Shit, quarantine's fucking badass, dude. Has anybody had that opinion yet? It's fucking rad, man. Killing it. No, I mean, it's it's fine. I mean, it sucks, but like, it's what it is. I think we're still doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. Are you
El
doing
Cabalin thought
online
I
shows?
shaved. No, I don't. I will shave. Don't worry. But what were you saying?
Uh, have you been doing like Zoom shows and like online shows and stuff like that?
I have. I have.
Yeah.
I feel like at first they were clunky and of course weird and of course, difficult. What I'm about to say invites a just an armada of insults.
I can't
But
wait.
long ago, I decided I no longer needed to depend on the audience to laugh at my material to know it was
Ah,
funny.
what is that like?
It's a mind fuck. It took a while, but like, and that's not saying I don't
Is that what
want.
freedom feels like?
Well, I don't know, because I mean, it's not like saying I don't want the audiences to laugh. I love making audiences laugh. Like
Right.
making people laugh is I don't even do that like it's a drug. No,
Yeah.
it's like a superpower like feeling. It's like a
Yeah.
otherworldly like sensation, and I love it. But I also know that sometimes in the moment you might say something that I could say something that hits so hard or is so just bizarre that maybe in that moment they're not going to laugh. Maybe
Yeah.
they're not going to laugh until the next day. That's something Steve Martin said in his book, was how that was the kind of laughter he went for. It was like the
Hmm.
laughter that, maybe in the moment they were like, huh? But 3 days later, we're
Yeah.
dying laughing from it. And that resonated with me when I read that book. But point being, that's why I don't mind I mean, nothing will ever replace performing live.
Of
But
course.
for the time being and for the reasons that we're doing them, I can handle these Zoom shows because if
Yeah.
I know people are watching, then I can fucking do it. You know what I mean? And
For
some of
sure.
them have now upgraded to where like, it's a finite amount of people that can be in the room or in the chat.
Hmm.
So they're all in there and you can hear them laughing.
Right.
And, and I also kind of feel like this isn't going away. You know what I mean?
I
Like
know.
I'm not talking about COVID. I think that'll go away. I'm talking about Zoom shows. I mean, like, we're
Yeah.
gonna do everything we can to make them better now. So in a year and a half, when life's kind of moving at full speed again, and
Hmm.
people have forgotten about Corona and forgotten about COVID, there will still be a market for Zoom shows because we'll be like, well, why go out when I can just sort of do this?
Yeah. You're smart. That's smart.
No,
Planning
that's just
ahead.
that's just years of not acknowledging trends and being the last person. Like if I could go back 15 years, well, okay, how about this? I moved to New York in 2007. If I could go back
Yes.
and tell myself one thing, one sentence, it would be take podcasts seriously.
Mm. I bet.
Because, yeah, back then it was sort of like there were 3 podcasts and you were like,
Right.
cool, I guess that's cool, but not whatever. And
Yeah.
now I know people who have never been on TV, but sell out, venue after venue on a podcast, and they're funny and they're whatever. It's a,
Yeah. So
anyway.
now the advice is take Zoom seriously.
Right. I wish like
Yeah.
me from 13 years would show up. My first question would be like, I'd be like, wait, just tell me a few things. A, do you still have an irregular heartbeat? B, um, are you still meditating? Because right now I'm on the fence. Are you still doing it? Can we still swear openly? Is it just become total? Okay, we can. All right, and then go ahead. Tell me what you're gonna say. Zoom shows. I knew it.
A virus? You're crazy. What are you talking about?
How are y'all doing though? How are y'all doing?
We're okay. We're totally bummed that we're shut down. We had to cancel all of our May shows. June's not looking good, according to our governor. We're just kind of hanging in there, You
You
do what
know,
you can online.
yeah, I wrote. Okay, I should tell you this now because I never told you guys about this at all. It was going to be a surprise. There's this like magazine called Whalebone Magazine. They're mainly like a online publication, but they asked
Mhm.
me back in February to write like my top 10, an article that was like my personal top 10 favorite comedy clubs outside of New York and LA. Right?
Okay.
And and like I wrote this article where I was like, I can't do 10, can I do more? And they were like, well, yeah, we'll break it up into like whatever. But like I put, you got the Independent and the comedy, the Secret Group in Houston. I was like,
Thank you.
these two clubs are two clubs run by comedians. They're more like comedy art venues than they are classic comedy clubs. They're new, but I use you guys as an example of like, this is going to be the future of comedy. I still believe that. I believe it more so now because
Yeah,
a lot of like established clubs are not going to recover from this,
right.
and because they rely far too much on big groups and 2 drink minimums and all that shit, and that's unfortunate. But
Absolutely.
the good clubs will survive. But like you
Yeah.
guys, I always like I felt that weekend or that night, that one night that I was
Yeah.
there, I was like, this is the future.
Ah, you're the best. Thank you so much for including us in that and just for being awesome. You were so kind while you were here, and that's why I wasn't like nervous to be like, "Hey, do you want to live chat with me?" Even though I was totally nervous to ask. But thank you for doing it. Thanks for taking the time. I
Of
do want
course.
to backtrack for a second because you did say something that was interesting to me. You said it happened, the light bulb kind of went off, and like I stopped giving a fuck about the laughter. Now I can do the Zoom shows. When do you feel that happened for you? Like, when did that light bulb go off and you were like, I actually don't really care about
It was actually a oh god, this is gonna be so name droppy.
it's okay.
All right, I'm sorry. Do you
Good.
know? Okay, so Kumail Nanjiani, right?
Okay.
Who's now movie star, TV
Hmm.
star, and fucking body of the year.
Yeah.
Kumail Nanjiani, but he's brilliant. Him and I kind of moved to New York the same year. We became buddies. We're still friends, but he's super famous. We
Hmm.
still talk every now and again. And his partner Emily, she's fantastic. She writes all of his bits. But it was New Year's Eve, 2009, turning 2010. I was in New York. I was doing this show there's a bar show I used to run at this bar called Cabin. Oh fuck! I'm actually wearing that. That's their T-shirt. But
Hell yeah.
but yeah, it
Love
was like a
that.
great bar show. But one of them happened to fall on New Year's Eve, turned
Uh-huh.
2009, turned 2010, and we did the show where it like started at 9 and was over by 10:30. But I went up and I had 2009 was a rough year for me, and I just vented and did bits that I normally wouldn't always do because I didn't always get the best reaction, and it just
Uh-huh.
kind of ate it. And but I was like, fuck it.
At
That
this at
night,
this point, how far along were you in comedy?
I'd been doing stand up at that point for shit 8 years almost.
Oh, shit, I'm still here. It just flip
It's
flopped
okay.
on me. All right.
But basically, like, I just had this set where I got off stage expecting, and Kumail and Emily come walking up to me, expecting them to be like, hey, I was expecting, like, hey, it's all right, whatever. It doesn't matter. Everybody bombs. But instead, they were both like, holy shit, that was awesome. And we had this long car ride, or this long train ride to this party where we just talked about that. And it was like, I had realized up until that point, I'd put too much stock in the audience reaction.
Yeah.
And I went through a lot of incidents where I knew something was funny, but it just wasn't getting the reaction I wanted. And at a certain point, you gotta learn to listen to the laughter, but listen for it of the many layers, because there is the initial like ha ha, there is that, there is the booming verbal laugh, there's also physical laughter, there's also a style of breathing, there's laughter takes many different forms sometimes, and you can't hear it, but you'll see someone in the audience just go, that's a laugh, but maybe they're not making like a ha ha sound, but they're making like a oh Jesus, they just doubled over physically. Like, and some people aren't always comfortable with booming, loud. You know what I mean? Laughter is like unbelievably awesome. That is a great fucking way to say it. It is different. And
fingerprint.
So you've got to, I guess my advice to any younger comics coming up is stop relying on feeling or on just hearing the laughter, and learn to sense it with your other senses. Learn to see it, obviously. Learn to smell it. Learn to taste it, but mainly learn to feel it. That sounds kind of new agey and bullshit, but that is kind of a thing. You just start to be able to feel it.
Well, there's such an energy that comes with performing stand-up and just in the room in general. And you're the person, I feel you're the person who is in control of the energy of the room. No?
Thank you. Thank you. That's actually something I never verbalize, but really think about constantly. Like, I think, when you're on stage, I feel like your psyche kind of divides into two. Like if it's a control room, there are two producers. One of them is just like, and next bit, and pause, laughter, and call back, go to call back. And next bit, go. But then there's the other.
It's so true. I'm laughing because it's true. My brain is doing that.
But then there's like the other producer that's like, uh-oh, is that guy by the bar getting too loud? Wait a second. Is that table chatting too much? Hold on, wait, how long have you been up here? Fuck, wait, did you just say something racist or not? Because that might be, you should think of, hold on. Are you being too loud? Are you pull the mic back a little bit? It's two versions. And there becomes this beautiful moment when they align, when like there's a balance where like, oh wow, this side of the room is just more into me than this side. That's not this side's fault, but that's just what it is. So deliver your setups to this side of the room and your punches to that one. You're trying to win this side of the room over more. So they're going to hear it on this side. So give them the setup. Let them know that you are acknowledging, like, hey, you guys are really into me. But then, wham, hit the other side with the punchline to show them, like, hey, I'm willing. I'm still going to fucking reel you in. And it's this balance between the two producers in your head where they're working together. But controlling the energy to me is very important. Like Bill Burr, who I think is a master.
I agree.
We once had this conversation about silence. About how important those moments of silence are in a stand-up set, because it's those moments of pure silence that tell you how well you're doing, way more so than the laughter.
I love that you mentioned that, because in his most recent special is when he has that like break of silence. He like takes a sip of his drink, and the audience members are going like, "Woo!" to like make noises during, and he just goes, "I'm okay with the silence. You don't have to do that." And that to me spoke volumes. Just like as a stand-up, especially as a new comic, I was just like, "Okay, that's so perfect and so true and so real." It was awesome.
Like
that in there.
Yeah, 100%. Like you could, like, when people are saying, that's one way to tell how you're doing. But when you stop to take a sip or clear your throat or adjust a mic and it is pin drop silent in there, that means every single fucking person in that room is 100% fixated on you.
Yes.
And that's how you can tell. And that's a thing too. I think there is a definitive difference between killing and being funny. And that's something everyone's got to figure out along the way, because you want the two to work together, and you want one to be because of the other. But like, killing doesn't always necessarily mean you're being funny, and being funny doesn't necessarily always mean you're killing either.
Yes.
You know, like it's a hard line to draw, but like, if you're in it long enough and you pay enough attention, you can tell. Like, we've all, I don't know how long you've been doing comedy, but I think anybody who's been doing it any amount of time, and this is not an insult to any type of comic, but these types of comics exist, where they go on stage and they murder it. Every 9 times out of 10, they get up there and they just get this uproarious laughter, but they are treading well-tread territory. They are sort of just regurgitating an amalgamation of different styles and materials that have already been proven. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not insulting that style of comic, but you know who they are. They go up and they talk about the basics, the dating, the men versus women, a slight bit of political commentary, maybe even some race. And that's, again, not insulting anyone who chooses to go after these things, but you know who you are, and that will murder. And to them, it's like, that's the only thing, that's the only goal, is to kill it. But then you talk to anyone in the audience about what that comic was talking about on stage a couple days later, and 9 times out of 10, they're not really they're gonna be like, I don't, that was funny. Yeah. That's all I know. But I don't remember any of it. For
sure.
Whereas being funny, you can go on stage and be having your own unique, original take on a myriad of subjects. And sometimes it's not murdering. It's half the audience is really into it, but there's another half, they're just kind of like, I don't know what this is. But then later are like, oh, fuck. And then you ask any of those audience members, and they're like, they did that bit about, no, they were doing this bit about abortion that, I'm not going to lie, while they were doing it, I was like, this is horrible. But now, I mean, it's actually fucking hilarious. I agree. It should be legal in every city and mandatory after midnight. You know? So like, but it's I like
for president.
Oh yeah, I like to equate it to, what's up, Rel Battle? What's up, dude? If that is the real Red Bat, the original Rel Battle. Thank you, Hunter. But like, it's like a night of drinking. Anyone can get fucked up. That's easy. Just keep ordering shots. That's killing. Killing is getting fucked up. You just keep ordering Jägermeister and slamming them. You're going to be fucked up in no time. But having a great night, you know, getting a person's phone number, having a great story, meeting some new friends, having wonderful conversation, that's being funny.
Yes.
And if you do that right, you be funny, you should end up just naturally killing because you were funny the whole time. So I don't know, it's a theory of mine that I try and adhere to, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes it's fucking backfires.
Yes. Earlier in the conversation, you mentioned if younger you would show up, you know, the things that you would say. And these interviews are kind of structured around that. Like, we put these on for the younger comics, myself included, some of the producers on the team. We haven't been doing it very long. But, you know, it's all about information that we're gathering from people that we look up to, that came and headlined for us. And it's great that you kind of used that analogy of like, what if younger me came back? This is what I would say, because that's what these are about. So if you gave any advice to younger you about moving to a hub, what would that look like?
Okay, well, interesting. It's interesting because when I started doing comedy, it was 2001. And I started in New Orleans, where there was like nothing.
God, I love New Orleans.
Yeah, awesome city.
Fuck.
I love it to pieces.
Yeah.
There was nothing really there then. Like, now there's a really good burgeoning comedy scene. There still isn't a club, but it's a great little scene. That's an interesting question, because like, New York and LA are obviously New York and LA. They're the coasts. Is one better than the other? It depends on what you want. If you want to be a pure stand-up comedian, New York is better, undeniably. There's just more stage time, more clubs, and New York as a city is just built for stand-up That's not saying LA has a bad. LA has a fantastic comedy scene, but I think it's a little more open to if you want to be a podcaster, if you want to start a show like a Kill Tony, if you want to something like that. That's LA's a little more open to that sort of idea. You want to a character on stage that you play, that, or I mean, or if you just want to do stand up, but still be open to those other ideas.
Yeah.
LA is better for that. But New York, I think for pure, like if you want to get on stage with a microphone and be funny, I think New York's a little more, there's just more. There's 14 comedy clubs in Manhattan alone. You know what I mean? There's dozens of bar shows that are great, and then dozens more that are good, and then dozens more that are fine, and then a shit ton of mics, and then there's probably 4 or 5 more comedy clubs I don't even know about. That's how massive New York is. There's comedy clubs. I've been here for 13 years. There's clubs I probably don't even know about still.
Right.
New York's
Absolutely.
there's just so much comedy to do here, and it's fantastic. However, I would say to a younger me today, like, go to New York and go to LA. If you don't want to do that, though, there are, I think, currently Atlanta, Chicago, and Denver are 3 cities outside of New York and LA that have like magnificent comedy scenes.
Yeah.
Right?
Denver
Magnificent.
isn't talked about enough. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, Denver's great.
Yeah.
Wait, what's that?
I feel like
You
it's
broke up for a minute
underrated.
there, what was it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I said I don't
It
feel
is.
like Denver is mentioned enough.
I mean, yeah, Denver's an awesome comedy scene. And I actually I think, but then if you don't want to go to, like, I think Detroit, the Detroit, Midwestern, like the Michigan, Milwaukee, because like my 2 favorite, like, okay, the Comedy Cellar is my favorite club in New York. It's just
Of
amazing. The
course.
Stand is great. New York Comedy Club
Yeah.
is great. But the Comedy Cellar is fantastic. It's just a magical place. But outside of New York, Acme Comedy Club in Minneapolis and Comedy on State in Madison. And
those are the
Go
2
Bananas
cities that
Cincinnati.
every single comic that I've interviewed has mentioned. So I love
Because
that you
those,
just confirmed.
dude, those comedy clubs are you can't get better than how they run things. They just are perfect. They are just perfect comedy clubs. Go Bananas in Cincinnati. That place is great too. And Denver has Comedy Works, which is fantastic. But like, moving to a hub, I would say you just got to seek out a city that has an active comedy scene. I know Detroit does, and I know like Ann Arbor. Like, I love the Ann Arbor Club, the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase. I don't, if I'm being honest, I don't love Ripley's. I don't love that place. I don't love Ripley's Comedy Castle. I've only done it.
Ridley's.
Ridley's, there it is, whatever. Believe it or not, I don't.
Right.
I mean, look, in its defense, it's been a fucking 7 years since I've done it. I've only done it
Right.
once. I didn't have the best experience, and they didn't seem to like me very much. Fine, but y'all exist. The Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase exists. It seems like Detroit, the Detroit, Michigan area is just a funny place.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many funny comedians. The festival is a good time. There's a lot going on. So I feel like, to answer your question, yes, I think you have to move to a hub. You can't live in a city without an active comedy scene. Do you have to move to New York or LA? That's on you. Do you want to put yourself through that? Because you will be, it's expensive. It is overpopulated with comedians, and no one gives a shit who you are or what you've done till you've been around for a while.
Yeah.
But I think you can still accomplish a level of like comedic success as far as like ability is concerned from a hub city. So I would say yes, pick a hub. There are about 5. And do it. Just knuckle up and do it.
When did you feel like you were ready for that?
I'd been in New Orleans for about 4.5 years doing stand-up. I stayed that long in the city because It was me and like a handful of other comics, and we were honest, like, we're gonna build a scene here, but it just, it wasn't. New Orleans isn't designed. It isn't designed for that sort of thing. I
No
love
way.
it. It
Drunk
had,
people
and
aren't
like,
gonna sit still.
right. Like I said, it has a good scene now, but it took over a decade for the kids there to like really build
Yeah.
it up. It was after years. I don't know. It was just a realization. It just kind of came to. It had been creeping in my head for years, but finally, it was like, you've known this from the get go. You got to go, fucking go. Then Katrina
Yeah.
hit, and then I stuck around for like 5 months after Katrina and made sure everyone I cared about, family wise, was going to be okay, and they were. And like, I didn't have anything. I lost everything, but I really didn't have anything. So it was like, fuck it, go.
Yeah.
And I went. It was that simple. But it was.
Yeah. It's in that time of like, I have nothing to lose,
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen this too many times. I've seen some, mid-level road headliner or feature telling some younger comic, you need to be doing comedy for 5 years. You need to
Yeah.
have these credits. You
I hear
should
that
probably
all the
have this
time.
amount of money. It's
Yeah.
total fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
100%. You will never have enough credits. You will never have been doing it long enough, and you will never have enough money to move to a fucking major city until you just do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
And I mean, I'm sure it's on another level, but it's just like any comedy scene across the nation. Show your face and do the work, right?
100%.
Like just
Show,
hustle it out.
but if like, I will say this, if there is the show your face, do the work spectrum, be just like 60 or 70-30, do the work. 70% do the work, 30% show the face. Because I also see that too much, with people who show their face too much,
Yeah.
but they aren't exactly doing the work, but want the stage time because they're always around. That's one way to look at it. I just don't agree with that. I agree with the other side of, do the fucking work, and the stage time will hear about you, and the shows will find you, and like, show up, hang out, be friendly.
Right.
Like, you comedians we're all we have at the end of the day, and that shit's hard. But also be on the grind, like,
Definitely.
like, because that is the one thing I do love about comedy. It is a meritocracy still, and funny always rises. And sometimes it only takes some people, and it takes some people 20. You just gotta be ready for either outcome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a couple more questions if that's okay. I know we're running, like, we're right at the
Yeah,
half hour mark
I'm
almost.
good.
Is that okay? All right.
I'm good. I'm
I
fine. Yeah.
want to know if there were times where you felt like, man, I can't do this. Like, were there times where you were like, I want to give up, I want to move back, or anything like that? I mean, a lot of comedians run into that, so I would like to talk about it.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
I want to get
Absolutely.
real for a second.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. That's like if you ate your favorite meal every day and then claimed you never shit because of it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, absolutely. It happens still constantly. You're
Yeah.
like, I mean, if you ask me, it's part of like the checks and balances of your own abilities. Like, you have those, all of it. Trust me. You have those, like, I've had people ask me if I still bomb, and I'm like, oh, you're really new to this, aren't you?
Right.
Cause yeah, and guess who else bombs? Every fucking
Everybody.
comedian on them, and like, that's what's beautiful about New York. I've seen gods bomb,
Yeah.
gods. I've seen like comedy fucking gods walk
Yes.
into rooms. People lose their minds. They can't believe Chris Rock. They can't believe Chappelle. They can't believe
Right.
Sarah Silverman. They can't believe Marin, Louis, fucking Bill Burr.
Right.
They can't believe it. And sometimes those fuckers kill, murder, and you're like, it's amazing. And then, but then
Right.
sometimes you're watching, you're like, fuck, are they bombing? And they
Am I
bomb.
witnessing this right now? Pinch me.
Yeah. And
totally.
everyone bombs. Bombing is a part of it. I'm not going to say it's obviously not equally as important, but it's something that will always happen. 40% of the time, you're going to bomb. You know what I mean? Maybe a little less, but like bombing is just like I said. If cooking and eating the delicious meal is writing and performing comedy, bombing is taking the shit. You have to shit. It's just part of the process.
Absolutely.
And it sucks. And yeah, like, oh my God, I've had those moments where you get off, like, because what's awesome about New York, go bananas, what's up, holla, is you get to do, 5 spots a night. And that's awesome. But sometimes your first set will be good. Your second set will be amazing. Your third set will be shit, but you won't mind because your second set was so amazing. Then your fourth set's just disappointing. Like, you can't figure out why, but it's just like, what the fuck was wrong? And then your fifth set's terrible. And then you drink it away and walk home that night instead of taking the train, and it takes you 90 minutes. And you fucking call your girlfriend crying because you're drunk and you bombed. And you're like, I just want to walk away from it all. I just want to fucking walk away from it all. What have I been doing? Why am I? This is bullshit. I've been lying to myself for 19 fucking years. How about that? Is that a talent? Did I Andy Warhol myself? Is that? I mean, why don't you just? I tell you what, right now, write a song about me, about the man who lied to himself for as long as it fucking took to realize, oh my God, I'm garbage. And then she's got to talk you off a fucking ledge, not literally, luckily, but and then you come home and sleep it off and wake up the next morning and you're like, oh, wait a second. Okay, hold on. My fourth set wasn't that bad, actually. It was actually pretty good. And that fifth set, they were drunk and they weren't going to listen to anyone. And then you go through that, and then you have the next night where all 5 sets just bap, 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 bap in a row, and you murder it, and you're like, there it is. So it's like, it's a constant cycle. Like, you have you'll spend a whole week just thinking of things you could do instead if you had to move home, and you have another week where you just every fucking night you have to stop yourself from just having a breakdown on stage, and then some nights you go to a club and I'll avoid Dan Soder, who's one of my closest friends, but I've had a shitty week, and I know he's about to film his HBO special. I don't want to put any negative energy in his space because I'm in a bad mood and he's on top of the fucking world. And you find yourself doing that where you're avoiding your friends. And then another week goes by where you're kind of just like, you know what? Okay, no, come on. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. You just focus. This is part of it. And then the next thing you know, for the next 4 weeks, you're just on top. Every set's a home run, and all these other bookings are coming in. And the next thing you know, your album's got more, listens, and suddenly you've got more followers, and now like more bookings are coming in. And then someone randomly hits you up like, "Hey, man, you're best comic," and you're like, "Thank you," and then you're on top. So it's like, it's a rolling. It never changes.
Fucking roller coaster.
And I'll say that to any younger comic. And this is not, again, I'm not trying to dissuade anyone, but like, if you can't handle that now, I would highly advise seeking out another life.
Yeah.
And I say that just to spare you all the fucking pain. If you've been doing comedy for a few years and the roller coaster is too scary, get off and go ride the Ferris wheel. And that's not an insult, but I've seen it a lot.
Yeah.
People who expect time to be the thing that changes, or move to New York thinking, well, I moved to New York, I did it. I'm like, no, you only did the first part. There's about 100 more parts now. So it's yes,
good.
It still exists, but you use it. It's fuel. It's fuel. Absolutely. It's all it is. It's not fuel, but also, what's the word I'm looking for? Tinder. Not the swipe white, the shit you burn,
Yeah, totally. You are so funny. It's just unreal. What else was I gonna ask you? I want to talk about some accomplishments. I mean, obviously you're just fucking killing the game. I know it's been 13 years or whatever. I guess if you had to give advice in like a couple sentences.
It's been almost 19 years.
Oh, I'm sorry, 19. Pardon me.
Yeah. That's a funny thing too. Wait, can I ask you, how long have you been doing stand-up?
I think it's been like 2.5 years now.
Okay, yeah, okay. It's really funny because when you meet people who've been doing it as long as I have or longer sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
there's two types. There's the type that will lie,
Yeah.
but they won't flat out lie. If they've been doing it 20 years, they won't be like, oh, I've only been doing it 8. But they'll say something like, well, I started, in the year 2000, but I didn't take it seriously till 2008. So, like really, like 20, but really 12. And then there's the other
Yeah.
kind, like me. I'm like 19. I've been doing this almost 19 years.
Yeah.
And I think there's, for some people, an embarrassment to how long they've been doing it versus their success level or how good they are. And I'm going to say right now, fuck that. Throw that idea out the goddamn window. Like, it's, yes, some people are more talented and
Mm-hmm.
some people are going to just get it faster. But you know what?
Yeah.
The person who sticks with it, works at it longer, and
For
gains the
sure.
success and the ability down the road out of dedication, you almost respect them more so.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know?
That's kind of
So,
leading into my next question because I was going to ask, do you think a lot of it is like being at the right place at the right time, or is it a mixture of that and hitting the road and booking yourself and doing the desk work? Like, how would you describe all of that? Like leading into like these getting on Fallon, getting on Conan, doing the Cellar, like getting hitting these goals that you've always dreamt of for 19 years or so.
I mean, I can say this, like, it is a combination of all those things, and all of those variables play into it. But like, I know, okay, I know, when I did, I the only I did this is going to get name droppy again. I apologize.
Okay.
I did Fallon solely because of Anthony Jeselnik,
Okay.
because at the time he was a writer on Fallon, and I really wanted to get on Fallon, but my manager at the time uh, was convinced I was not ready. And I had made a couple of different tapes and I had sent him, and he claimed he'd watched them all and was just like, I just don't think any of this is going to fly. I don't think the bookers are going to be interested in any of this. I just don't think the set's there yet. And I was really fucking frustrated because I believed that it was. And
Mm-hmm.
there was this comedy club in New York called Comics. It's no longer there. God rest its soul. It's a good spot. But Anthony was headlining like a one night, and he asked me to feature. And afterwards, this again is so fucking name droppy. I apologize, but it was
You
myself.
gotta tell the story. It
Yeah,
happened. It's
myself.
okay.
It's also name dropping people who are infinitely more successful than me. So whatever. It was myself, Anthony Jeselnik, and at the time, his lady partner, who you might know her by Amy Schumer. So the three of us are just in the green room, and we're talking about TV spots because he was, just talking about working for Fallon. And I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, like, yeah, I'm trying to get a tape together. And he goes, what do you mean you're trying to get a tape together? And I was like, well, my manager just doesn't think it's ready. And he's like, do you have it right now? And here's the thing. This was how long ago this was. I had the DVD on me
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I had just come from my manager's office
Uh-huh.
or earlier. And I was like, actually, I do. I had it in my bag. He's like, give it to me. Fuck it. Give it to me right now. I'll give it to the booker tomorrow. And he did. And the
Yeah.
booker was like, yeah, this is great. So it was like a fuck you to my manager at the time. But that's the only reason that happened so that was like a right place, right time scenario.
Right.
But at the same time, the only reason I was in that right place at that right time is because I had worked hard enough and gotten funny enough to where Anthony had seen me and thought I was funny enough to ask me to open for him at a show he was headlining.
Yeah.
So you see what I mean? It's a
Yes.
combination. Like, yes, it is a lot of right place and right time, but you're never
Mm-hmm.
going to be in the right place at the right time if you don't do all the goddamn work to get there. So it's like
Yeah.
and that's the other thing. You can't focus on right place at right time. You can never predict when or where it's going to be.
Yeah.
The only part you can control is the work. So just
Right.
because that's the other part. If the right place never comes along and the right time never happens, the
Mm-hmm.
work will carry you to success. It may take a little
Absolutely.
longer and it may be a little harder, but it will,
Yeah. For
you know?
sure. Yeah, definitely. Um, so since you have really hit these marks that a lot of us young comics dream of doing, which one would you say is the one that you're like really most proud of? Like, what's something that really stands out to you?
I mean, Fallon and Conan were cool. You know, those were interesting experiences. I want to remind everyone, I've only done Conan twice. The second time, I bombed. I bombed on Conan.
Oh my goodness.
I bombed. I know what that feels like to bomb on
Yeah.
television, and it was a rough one. And the booker of Conan is a wonderful human being named J.P. Buck, who still books Conan. And the industry is a rough. There's about I'm gonna go ahead and say 85% of the industry are pure pieces of shit, but there are 15% of the industry that are great, awesome human beings who really care about comedy and really want to help cultivate it. J.P. Buck is number one on that list, right? He is just an angel of a man. And I felt worse about bombing I didn't feel so bad for myself. I took a risk and it just didn't work out on Conan, but I felt worse for him because I was like, fuck, did I fuck him over as the booker?
Yeah.
It didn't. But he's asked me numerous times, like, do you want to try doing it again? And I'm always like, I don't know. But TV spots are cool. The half hour on Comedy Central was something else. Doing Australia was something.
Huge.
Because I've done that twice now. You're in Australia for a month. You know, they pay for everything. They put you up. And, you know, there's a huge comedy fan world in Australia. Is amazing. If you've never been, it's amazing.
Dying to go. Honestly.
It's awesome. And doing those festivals was just something fucking else, man. It was like, I don't know, that was awesome. But the most unexpected but beautiful thing was the thing I love so far that I'm the most proud of is all the things I've done for Ari's show, for This Is Not Happening.
Yeah,
because
those are great. I really enjoyed
well, thank you. But also, like, everything about Ari fought so hard to get that show on TV. Ari fought so hard to get certain comedians on because Comedy Central is a bullshit network and they just wanted stars. They just wanted famous people telling stories that no one was going to give a shit about. And trust me, I did 3 seasons of that show. I saw it happen a few times where it was like, yeah, this person's famous, but this story fucking sucks.
Sucks. Right? Yeah.
Right. But what that show stood for was Ari being like, don't edit yourselves, and I'm not going to vet you. Every single fucking TV spot you do, including the half hours, your set has to be vetted by producers and by lawyers to tell you if you're right. Every single one, except that show. Ari fought tooth and nail and another tooth and a whole, both toenail and fingernail and 9-inch nail. Why not? To make it so, to where it was like there was no vetting involved. None whatsoever. You just, if he booked you, he trusted you to have a story. He would be like, tell me the story, and he'd want to see it to see if it was good enough. But it was like, yeah, it's funny. Do it. So that show was solely about funny and about great stories and about funny stories. And he booked you based solely on if it was good or not. And that's what I love the most about it. And so that would be so far the thing I'm really proudest of, because it was a truly like, hey man, it doesn't matter. Nothing else matters but if this is good. Quality above everything else. And when you get to be a part of something like that, that's the one thing I say to every young comic, for real. Like, if you do not 100% believe in the thing, the opportunity of don't take it. I mean that so hard because I've done it. I've done the thing where it was like, yeah, but this is a lot of money and some exposure. Sure, it's kind of a shitty project, but whatever. It's money and exposure. It doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. It's never going to be enough money. It's never going to be enough exposure. And you're going to fucking hate yourself for doing something you didn't believe in. Take the lump, take the punch on the chin, and just push on till the next opportunity comes, and it will. And every opportunity you pass up because it's not right for you, trust me on this, the next opportunity will be bigger and more pure and more real. So
that's great advice, man.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes. Trust me, it's hard when it's like, we're going to give you $30,000 because that's the kind of shit. Here's an idea of what those look like. It'll be like, we want you to host this 6-episode fucking web series about swimwear. And you're going to be like the comedic voice. It's going to be hilarious, right? And we're going to pay you $15,000 an episode. And you do the math, and you're like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. And people are going to watch this. But here's what you're not factoring in. Taxes. If you're at that level where you're getting an offer like that, commissions. Oh, magical commissions. It's 10% to your manager and 10% to your agent and 5% to a lawyer. You didn't know you needed a lawyer. You do. Then there's the magical California state tax. Woo! Where even if you don't live in California, you got to pay it. Why do you have to pay it? Because every production company, even if they're based in New York, they're also based in LA. So they get taxed California fucking state tax style. So you're only going to see about half of that money. And trust me, half of that money will last you about a year. And then next thing you know, you've wasted a year doing something you hate, and you're going to fucking hate it. Because you're going to be paired up with producers who don't understand comedy. So you're going to have an actual funny thing to say about a ridiculous looking swimsuit coming out of Milan. And you're going to say it, and producers are going to be like, well, I don't know. That feels a little aggressive, and we don't want to be aggressive. And you're like, no, trust me, it's not aggressive. It's hilarious. It's a halter top. I'm calling it a Hitler top because it looks like the little mustache. It looks like Hitler's mustache. And Milan is also, a lot of Germans live there. It's a Hitler top. And they're like, no, we can't have you saying that. Sorry. So you end up the whole time they just got clipped. And also, here's the other thing. They'll be like, okay, say it, but can you also say this other joke our writers wrote for you? And their writers are just a bunch of other producers who took fucking improv classes, who don't know dick about fucking comedy, but they're going to give you these stupid, just horrendously shitty lines. And here's how they're going to trick you. They're going to let you say your fucking hilarious line in the camera. Under the guise or the deal is now say our line. And you're going to say the line that they gave you saying, guess who's in charge of the editing? They are. So the line you said that's amazing, not going in the cut. The line that you hated, that's going in. So it's going to be just episode after episode of you saying these fucking stupid garbage lines, and then that's going to get out there, and it's going to be somewhat successful. And people are going to know who you are, but they're the wrong people, because then they're going to come see you live and be like, but why aren't you talking about swimwear? What is this? Why are you trying to talk about women's rights or the idea of extraterrestrial and what abortion would look like on another planet? We just want to talk. And now you're fucking performing in front of people who don't get you and never got you in the first place.
Yes.
And guess what? You made $60,000, and you blow fucking most of it on vodka and tattoos and things that make you feel. It's never worth it to do the thing you hate. It's never worth it. Just don't do it. Wait. Perfect. Take the opportunity. Perfect. That is you. Sorry, that was a little ranty.
I loved it. I loved every second of it. We have these on for 24 hours, by the way. So please tell everyone about this, because that rant was perfect.
Sure.
Do you also feel like when comics are starting off and they say yes to, let's say, like, you're headlining a fucking bar, you're like, quote unquote headlining, and you're not really ready, but you say yes anyway. Do you feel like you should be saying yes to things that you may not be ready for, if that makes sense? Not necessarily things like you're saying about like advertising and stuff like that, but just like you're trying new things, you want to get, from 10 minutes to 20 minutes. Like, do you think it's smart to say yes if you feel like you don't really have 20 minutes yet?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%. I say, what I was talking about was like opportunities as far as like TV or web, whatever. Filming. When it comes to stage time, always say yes. Always say yes. Because life is carbon based. Fucking stand up comedy is stage time based. Straight up. There's no better way to put that. Jeff Baldinger never worked. Yeah, you're right, buddy. You've heard me shout this. That's Jeffrey Baldinger. Los Angeles' own. Him and I lived together in Edinburgh, Scotland last year doing the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which is another thing every comic should do at some point. Thank you for quoting me back to me, you ginger motherfucker. I miss your sweet face. When it comes to stage time, always say yes. Everything, because you just do it. Just do it. Even if it sucks, even if you've only got 5 minutes and like I need you to do 15. Fuck it, dude, go for it.
Yeah.
And understand that half the time you're gonna eat shit. If you take these opportunities that you're truthfully on paper are not ready for, yeah, half the time you're gonna eat a big, steamy, corn-filled spoonful of half liquid, half chunky shit. But guess what? Now
You're gonna learn something, huh?
Now you're ready for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like now, the next time that opportunity comes around, you're like, oh no, I got this.
Sure.
I've done it. I know how it tastes. It's not that bad.
You will live. You'll be
Yeah,
okay. You're gonna get drunk. You're gonna call
full
your
of iron
girlfriend.
and
It's gonna be
riboflavin.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you have a couple more little pieces of advice before we wrap this up for us young?
Do you have any more questions?
That was it for me, babe.
Where did you get that fabulous bedspread? Because that is marvelous.
I got it from, the classic Urban Outfitters that
There you
we
go.
all love.
Hell
It was
yeah.
on sale. It was on sale.
Are you quarantining solo, or you got like your partner or roommates?
I live with a couple, and then my ex-boyfriend is quarantining with me because we're still good friends.
Okay.
We share a dog. It's a whole thing, but he's great. He's fantastic. He's like cooking me dinner right now. We're good.
Oh, damn! You should write the script about this, about like how sometimes the only way to save a relationship is to end it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it, Sean. Trust me, I really have.
And are you getting to like hang out with other comics social distance wise? Like, are you getting to like take walks or anything?
Not in person yet as far as comics. I've hung out with like my mom and like a couple close friends, but comics we just do a lot of online stuff. I talk to Connor Mead on the phone a bunch. Yeah, just doing a lot of that. A lot of FaceTime with comics, I would say.
Yeah.
Bart Dangus and Brett Mercer, Blaine Hill, they have a podcast called Big Time Garbage, and they
Yeah.
host a live Zoom every single night. So that's been really fun to like hop on that. So yeah, still in contact, but not in person yet. Hopefully with the weather getting better.
Oh yeah, Bart Dangus. I mean, advice. I mean, I've said a lot, but if to boil it all down, just like if you're doing this, do it for the love of the game. Do it because you want to create great comedy, and stay true to your sense of humor. Because trust your sense of humor. Trust it. It will evolve with you. It will grow with you, and it'll outgrow you. And that's the best part, is when your sense of humor becomes fun, like better than you, and you can trust it the most. I do not think you should ever kill your babies. I mean that both literally and figuratively, right?
Okay.
So don't actually murder your children. But secondly, like if you have a bit that you love, you've given birth to you've fucking carried this bit, you've gestated this bit, this fucking miraculous piece of material, you've birthed it and you have it, and the world just doesn't love it yet, just don't kill it. Just homeschool it for a while and feed it and care for it, and know that eventually it'll grow up. It'll grow from that baby to that strapping, amazing person you want that bit to be. And I believe that. Some of my favorite bits, some of the bits, okay, you know that, we're talking about Ari's thing, that cumin story, right? Which a lot of people seem to love. I get a lot of love from that. I mean, I started doing that early in my comedy days, and just it got nothing. People were just weirded out by it. So I stopped doing it for like 5 years probably. And then one day was just reminded of it and was like, I want to try this again. And then started doing it again. And then 2 years later, filmed it for Ari's thing, and then it blew up. So it's like, you just never know. Like if you truly love an idea, be patient. Let it sit. Sometimes that's what you got to do. Sometimes you got to put it on the shelf and then get out there and hone your skills and build your chops and get your fucking, get your get your punching levels up, get your fighting weight on, and then you come back and you're like, oh, I was just opening. I should have opened with a question. So it's oftentimes
Right.
that simple. It's like for years I opened it with like telling people that they needed to eat more cheese, when in reality I should have been like, what do you think about cheese? And all of a sudden it's a new
It's a
bit.
different
And it's,
thing. Yeah.
but yeah, I'd say that is, I don't know, that's important to me, and no one ever seems to talk about that. But like, if you truly
Yeah.
like whatever you believe in, stay with it.
Okay.
Sometimes the bit work. Everyone knows this. If sometimes the bit works immediately, sometimes it takes a couple months, but sometimes it might take a decade.
For sure.
And those are the best bits.
Wow, secrets
Yeah.
out. Thanks for that, Sean.
Of course.
Do you have anything to plug before I let you go?
I have my podcast, which is called 5 Words. It's on the All Things Comedy Network, and we're releasing them every Tuesday. And my album Scuttlebutt, available on Helium Records, available absolutely everywhere you can get albums. Check them all out, and I'm doing it. I'm just out here doing it. And I will be back at the Independent as soon as they let us go places.
Yes, I'd love
I'll
to
be
set
there.
that up. Yes, yep. Shoot us an email. You are welcome here anytime, Sean. Thanks for being so kind, and thanks for taking the time to do this. This is awesome. Very fun. Thank you so much for the laughs.
Of course. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for having me on this. And hey, everyone, stay healthy. Stay writing.
Yes, you as well. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Later.
Oh my God, I can finally breathe. He's so great and so funny, and I was just like so nervous, and at a point I forgot what I was saying. Thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. And your comments were great and fantastic. Sean is so fucking awesome. I just learned so much, and I hoped any comedians or fans learned a bunch about comedy. That's why we're putting these on Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock. I interview a new comic. Tomorrow I'm interviewing Boise, Idaho. I always fuck that up. Emma Arnold. Emma Arnold came and headlined for us again, more so at the beginning when we were first opening up and stuff. But she is fantastic, also very kind, and I also, you know, I'm a little biased. I love talking to a female comedian. But yes, go ahead and follow Sean Patton if you're not already. He's clearly fucking famous. Follow him, listen to his podcast. Tomorrow I'll be back 7 p.m. Eastern with Emma Arnold. I have been Johanna Medranda. Thanks so much, you guys. Keep supporting live comedy, even if it's living in your phone or computer right now. The Independent Comedy Club lives. All right, peace out, guys. See you around.